Today's episode is Mortal Beloved. Things start off when some random village girl sees a ghost. Xena goes out to explore and finds the ghost of her old lover Marcus, who we met at some point previously this season in an episode that I just didn't care enough to talk about, and so I'm sorry if he comes as a surprise, but hey, apparently he's the love of Xena's life. Even though Prometheus kinda argued that Hercules was the love of Xena's life. Oh, Xena, you fickle thing. Anyway, this moment was hilarious to me, because as soon as Xena sees Marcus, she's not like, oh my god, Marcus, you're a ghost. That's really weird. How are you coming to talk to me? Why are you coming to talk to me? I don't understand. No, she's pretty much just like, oh Marcus, I'm so glad you're here. I have so many things I've been meaning to talk to you about. Maybe that's just how Xena rolls. It's a lot less like the love of her life has taken it upon himself to appear to her from the underworld, and a lot more like she ran into her old boyfriend at the grocery store and now they're gonna take 10 minutes and sort through a few unresolved issues. It's never made entirely clear just how Marcus is able to project himself out of the underworld to see Xena, but he does manage to yell out a few things about how everything in the underworld is all topsy-turvy and things are happening to good souls that shouldn't be happening. And then he gets, like, yanked backward, and Xena's all, no! And it's kind of futile because we've already established he's a ghost and she can't touch him. She does manage to figure out, however, that the way to the underworld is to go into this one particular lake. And so she and Gabrielle go to the lake. And Gabrielle actually makes this really valid point that, in fact, this is known to be one of the most unusually deep lakes in the area. And maybe Xena should not necessarily just be diving in to try to swim to the bottom. But Xena pretty much just quickly dismisses her and is all like, well, I'll get to the underworld one way or another. And Gabrielle's kind of like, yeah, good plan. So Xena just swan dives into this lake, and Gabrielle plunks herself down on the shore and waits. As anyone could have predicted, Xena makes it down into the underworld, and we get our first glimpse of what this actually looks like when put together by the writers of Xena. Apparently, the first stop is Tartarus, which is where the bad souls get stuck. Tartarus on Xena pretty much means that you're in caves that are lit dramatically in purple and red, and people walk around in circles a lot, looking mostly pretty bored, and there is a random girl who's kind of standing knee-deep in a little paddling pool. I don't understand it either. And most people are just pretty blasé about the whole thing. But Xena finds Marcus, and so together they go wandering off into the Elysium Fields part of the underworld, which is supposed to be where all the good people get sent after they're judged. So the Elysium Fields, as we see them, are in fact, you know, fields with flowers and blue skies, and there's a lot of harp playing. And then there's a whole lot of people kind of running around and cackling and eating and tussling. Apparently all of the tussling is meant to show us that these are the bad people who have taken over Elysium, and we should be upset about that. But honestly, it just kind of looks like everyone's having a really good time. At this point, I think we finally hear about the rest of the plot. Basically, there's some sort of long-dead serial killer who likes to chop up women on the night before their wedding, and he has stolen, somehow, we're never actually told how, the helmet of Hades. And the helmet of Hades can turn you invisible. And apparently that's all you need to be able to completely reorder the structure of Hades. I don't know, maybe they explained it at one point and I just wasn't paying attention. It's more than possible. At this point, Xena figures out that Marcus was actually supposed to be in Tartarus. Therefore, he is fighting to restore order to Hades, even though it'll put him back in torment for the rest of his life, even if torment is pretty much going to be just walking around in a circle. And Xena has a big long moment of angst and, oh Marcus, no, how can you do that to yourself? And Marcus is all, no, I am chiseled and manly and I know it is the right thing to do. Anyway, Xena and Marcus are traveling towards Hades, and along the way have to fight off some harpies, who are really, really bad CGI harpies. We figure out we figure out Adam's evil plot, which is pretty much that with the magical invisible helmet of Hades, he can somehow transport himself back to the overworld and be mortal again, and so you can kill him again, and it just, don't think about it, really. Don't think about it, because it makes absolutely no sense. Because the Xena writers at this point have to convince you that they're not crazy, that this is actually what the plot of this episode is going to be, we see Adam coming up out of the water and attacking Gabrielle. But because he's wearing the invisible helmet, we mostly just have this ridiculous sequence of like, bubble bubble in the lake, step, 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 step on the sand, demented humming, and then taunt, 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 fight. Anyway, they fight off the bad guy, he escapes all invisible-like, and Marcus and Xena get to spend a little, shall we say, quality time together. They find out that there is, conveniently, or not so conveniently, some girl about to get married, like, just 5 minutes down the road that way! And so they start heading that way, and then we are treated to a fabulous misuse of the power of invisibility. Because number one, he tipped over a fruit stand and then smooshed a guy's face in a lot of fruit. Two, he taunted a juggler. And then he uttered the immortal line, "I hate jugglers. Be glad you're not a mime. Let it be a lesson to us all." And then finally there was a canoodling couple on a swing and he dumped him over into the dirt. Maybe I'm just cynical and bitter, but that made me laugh the most. Anyway, our merry band of heroes confronts the bride's father about a plan to save his daughter from inevitable serial killer death. Xena is going to take her place at this ceremonial bath ceremony thing. Anyway, of course, that was a fake-out plan, and Xena ends up kicking Adam's ass anyway, and they regain the helmet, and Marcus and Xena go to take it back to Hades, and Gabrielle gets to sit by the lake again. At this point, Xena and Marcus have what I'm sure is a touching scene by the lake. But Marcus never actually wears a shirt, he just wears this vest thing, and I'm pretty sure they oil him up before every shot, and so I'm distracted during this entire scene by the rays of sunlight just like gleaming off of his pectorals. This is what happens, people. It's not my fault. It is not my fault. Anyway, blah blah blah, they dive into the lake and go back to Hades and get back to Hades' castle and have to fight the harpies again. And for the second time, Xena ends up fighting them off by setting them on fire. And at this point, I'm really starting to wonder if this is the best strategy. Because those harpies are probably there for a reason, and if Xena keeps killing them off, I'm pretty sure Hades is gonna get kicked off. Who is gonna keep the riffraff out of his palace now? Did you think about that, Xena? Did you? So Xena tries to argue on behalf of Marcus and get him transferred out of Tartarus and back into the Elysium Fields. And to do this, she begs Hades to look inside his heart. And then she stabs him in the heart. There is no reason, as far as the script actually tells us, for Xena to have to be the one to kill Marcus and make him dead again. Like, none. Blah, blah, plot happens, Marcus gets rejudged and sent to the Elysium Fields, and everything is right again in Hades. And the Elysium Fields are now pretty much how you expect them to be, with lots of people wearing floofy white togas and listening to harp music, and flowers are in bloom, and it was a hell of a lot more interesting when the bad guys were in charge. So, final shot. Gabrielle is, wait for it, sitting by the lake, all on her own, waiting for Xena, like she pretty much does every single week. I know I'm late to the party, but I really wish we could all just chip in and buy Gabrielle a lifetime supply of crossword puzzles, because she has to wait on Xena all the time. And then maybe there could be some leftover money and we could buy her a horse. I am not giving up on this horse idea.